Hey guys, before we move on to our next topic, I want to remind everybody that you can go get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players, teams with bets, quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and much more. You guys just have to visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to shoot your shot. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Tyvis, you won a parlay last night. Tell us about it.
I did. So last night after my Cavs parlay just completely went to heck because of Jared Allen not getting 8 boards, ridiculous. Right when I was going to sleep, I said, you know what? FanDuel was offering the 50% profit boost for live same game parlays. So I was like, the Lakers game is on. Let me look at it. I seen LeBron had just did like a layup. He like brought it down here, brought it up. I said,
he had an incredible fourth quarter.
I was like, he's gonna have a really good game. So I said, let me go throw together a quick parlay and then I'm gonna go to bed. So I did Anthony Davis, 20 points, Kawhi Leonard, 20 points, LeBron, 20 points, James Harden, 2 made threes, Norman Powell, my cousin, 2 made threes. He's not really my cousin. And LeBron, 3 made threes, and D'Angelo Russell, 3 made threes. So a 7-leg parlay, I put $10 on it, put the profit boost on it. I won $300 when I woke up this morning. I was like,
nothing better than waking up to a parlay that hits. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So shout out to me for just pulling a rabbit out the hat. And LeBron making 7 trades. I'll tell you what, if you playing tonight, I'm definitely taking you on the under on threes because I know you're not going to do that again.
He had a tremendous fourth quarter. I don't know if you saw, but he had 19 in the fourth.
Yeah.
Outscored the Clippers by himself in the fourth quarter. Kudos to LeBron. All right, and let's talk a little bit about the NFLPA report cards that came out yesterday. Before we dive into the individual grades, Jason, I know one of the questions we're going to ask is how much of these teams actually take into consideration the results of said report cards, and does it matter in the grand scheme of things? Stefanski was asked about it yesterday. I know you were at the presser.
Yeah.
He mentioned the fact they're going to build a new weight room, which was one of the things they got dinged on, so kudos to the Browns for listening. But do you think these matter at all in the big picture? Do the teams actually take into consideration how their players vote and use that feedback for constructive criticism and ways to get better?
Yeah, I think it matters. To what extent, how much weight they put into it, I don't know. But I think that they do look at it. I think they do take it seriously. And you don't want to grade poorly in these year after year after year after year. Like if it's a one-off, okay. But if year after year the owner's getting bad marks, the coach is getting bad marks, I'm not saying the Browns are, but I'm saying if you're one of these organizations, yeah, that's a problem because players talk. And when you're choosing free agent destinations, some of these things I've talked about, I talked to Ethan Posick about why he chose Cleveland. Strength and conditioning staff and Bill Callahan. That's why he came here, were those two things. He really wanted both of them. And so guys are going to look at things like the weight room. And the Browns, this isn't a 20-minute knee-jerk reaction to this. Like, they've known for a while they needed a better weight room, and this has been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
They just used yesterday as the opportunity to say, yes, we know, and we're addressing it, we're fixing it. They need a bigger practice facility, quite honestly.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, right?
Because when I was there, obviously I came there after Seattle, and I remember they don't even got a full 100 yards indoor.
No.
It's like 80 or 70 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the weight room's in there.
And the weight room is really right outside you walk out the glass door.
Well, I mean, it's in that same construct, yeah.
But since I've been there, so I was there in 2017, I walked through the facility last year, during OTAs I was walking through the building, and they've changed it, but I agree with you. It's just too small. Yeah. Like, it's not a lot of room in there. It's not a place that I feel like you can hang out. I feel like the locker room was kind of not great.
Locker room's tight.
Yeah, it's tight.
It's very tight.
It's not a place that like you could just sit in there and just chat. Like in Seattle, it's so big. It's like a huge room where everybody's in there. You can just sit there and just talk. Like I feel like it's so confined and so tight that they got to fix those things.
We'll run through the grades in one sec, but from a player perspective, Tyvis, were these things you considered, and did you ever look at an NFLPA report card when you were making? I know you were kind of on a we want you to come to us situation, not a ton of options. But would you have looked at that? Would you have looked at that if that was part of the decision-making process when you were playing in the league?
Would I have looked at the report card? No.
I mean, you probably would have talked to guys.
Yeah, I would have talked to guys.
But I'm saying, it does matter what people say about a certain situation, right?
Yeah, but I'm always the guy that I got to see it for myself. Like if I was, let's say that I was really good and I was a big-time free agent and I was going to visit these places. you know, how you treat my family, that matters. That's something that's very important to me, and I think that was on the report
That was on
card,
it, yes.
which they scored not good. I think it was like a D-.
The Browns got a D- on that.
Which
yes.
is crazy because Shelby Harris said that one of the reasons he decided to come here is because they treated his wife with so much respect and so much class, so he respected that. But that's neither here nor there.
But some of that also is like, what's the family room situation? And I don't know with the Browns. What's the family room situation in the stadium?
Yeah.
What setup do you have for the kids?
Daycare was something they asked
Right,
about. Yeah.
right. So
that's fair.
That goes into how you
That's
treat
fair.
the family.
The Browns, according to this, they are one of 12 teams that do not provide their players with families with a family room at the stadium.
Oh, and
There
I
you
saw.
go.
I saw.
Well, that's a big problem.
In the report card too, they said the post-game family room is outside. And
Yes, it's a tent in a parking lot.
Oh, that's horrible.
That's bad.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's really bad.
So, a couple big picture takeaways I had from this, and I kind of actually do have a little bit of an issue with how they put out these grades. And we'll run through all the grades in one sec, but I do have a little bit of an issue of how the NFLPA just kind of slaps these report cards out there without giving the proper context to each grade. So, first and foremost, with the facilities, the Browns scored poorly in the locker room section. They said it's too small. It's outdated. They said the weight room was too small. Outdated.
It is.
Stefanski comes out yesterday, says they're going to build a new weight room. Well, I love to hear that they're listening and they know those upgrades are necessary. They're going to make them, but that all points to the bigger picture of why Jimmy wants a new stadium. Like that kind of is all encompassing with.
Well, these are two different issues. The stadium is different from the practice facility. Like,
But they talk about the weight room just in the stadium. But it's all tied together, right?
Unless they're moving. Unless when he builds a stadium, he's building a practice facility
I assume on that lot
outside.
they'd have the practice facility over there.
Because when I played in Seattle, the practice facility and the stadium was two different places. But if I played in San Francisco,
They're all together.
It's all together. Your locker room, your game day locker room is your practice locker room. So if they're moving to that, okay, then you got to build a new weight room and all of that.
I was under the assumption that if they moved to Brook Park, it'd all be one encompassing.
But it's like it's like right there. The practice facility.
the practice facility is very close
to Brook Park.
It's very. I mean, it's not. You can't use the same locker room, obviously.
No, but yeah, it's literally like right up the street.
That's actually a good question that I don't have the answer to. If they would just move everything to the stadium, or if they would keep them, because Jimmy bought up a bunch of land around the facility.
That's why I was under the assumption.
Yeah.
I thought he was doing it to build it up, like put restaurants and hotels.
Well, that's part of it too.
Well, no, we're talking two different things. Restaurants and hotels around the practice facility in Berea?
No, around the stadium.
Yes.
The
Yes.
stadium.
Well, that's a big plot of land. That's plenty big enough for a new stadium, a practice facility, and hotels, restaurants, bars, and all that. That's a big plot of land, Tyvis.
It's my impression. I've not heard anything about a practice facility going there. I thought that was going to be a stadium and all mixed use development around it.
The practice facility is literally 5 minutes from there.
Right. Yeah. It's very, very close. But to your point, if you want it all in one,
you could do that.
You could do that, but right now it's not all in one if it's 5 minutes away. Yeah. Like it's 5 minutes, but that's still 5 minutes. It's still the car ride and everything else. So I have not heard anything about a practice facility on that land in Brook Park. I thought that was just a stadium and mixed use. They have so much land that they've bought up and they're just sitting on in Berea around the current facility that they're still trying to figure out what exactly to do with. That I could be wrong, but I thought that they were going to rebuild that in Berea, make that a nice practice facility, and then obviously the Brook Park thing is totally separate. That may not ever even happen.
Well, you know better than I do, so I'm not going to. I just assumed with that much.
I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I never thought about that. Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, that could be the next question you ask. But the other issue I have, and this is kind of my real issue with how the NFLPA presented these grades, is they just put out the report card and it says head coach for the Browns, B-. 28th in the league. And I asked DeAnthony Bell to his face yesterday. I guess I was behind the glass, but hey, DeAnthony, this just came out. Kevin Stefanski got a B- in terms of his grade. Everyone we talked to seems to love Kevin Stefanski, and he was surprised. He said, I'm surprised.
Shocked. Yeah, he was shocked.
Well, it turns out, if you read into it, the question they ask about a head coach is your head coach efficient with his time, and is he willing to listen to the locker room?
Yeah.
Well, when you just slap a B- on a Twitter graphic and put 28th out of 32, how the hell am I supposed to know those were the two questions that the players were asked? And Kevin Stefanski, in my opinion, is a terrific head coach. He's a two-time coach of the year in his 4 years as the Browns head coach. You can argue it's a player vote, who likes him, who doesn't. I know that's the players voting on this B- grade, but you got to put some context to it, because if you just see a B-, When I asked D'Anthony Bell yesterday, I was under the assumption, is he a good head coach? Do you like your head coach?
Well, you definitely.
And that is not what the actual questions were. And now I feel like kind of an asshole for asking D'Anthony Bell to talk about something that was completely irrelevant to what was the point.
Well,
the NFLPA just puts it out. B-.
He
28 out
answered
of
the
32.
question, though. You said, what was the 2 questions that they asked? Is he
efficient with his time, and does he listen in the locker room?
Well, he answered the second one because he said he's a player's coach.
Well, he said he was shocked by the result.
Yeah, he said, I don't see why anybody would say that. He's a player's coach. He listens to what we have to say.
So my point is, when you put these out there, it's doing a disservice to what you're actually asking just to slap a B- next to Kevin Stefanski.
It's ridiculous that a B- is 28th.
Well, it just shows that every player is voting an A for their head coach, essentially.
Pretty much. Well,
but put some context to it.
Nobody want to put no job on the line.
Well, I mean, this is anonymous.
Whatever.
I was surprised when I saw the B-, and especially if that's the criteria. Some guys, it's lip service when they say this stuff. I believe Kevin means it when he says he's got his locker room down on the players' level and doors always open. He said it again yesterday. Doors always open. He very much believes in this leadership council that he's assembled with these guys. Of hey, if there's an issue, let me know. Bring it to me. Take it to he meets with these guys on the leadership committee. I don't even know how often it is, but fairly frequently, and he wants to know if there's issues. So if the things that you want to ding Kevin for, I don't know that not being available to the players or not being approachable or however they phrased it, I would not have that on the list.
The time thing is crazy because
that's curious.
It's literally be by like we got this much practices from this to this.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because the NFLPA going to come out there and it's like, well, you better be getting off the field. So
I guess my big issue, though, is I had to do some not legit digging, but you have to physically click on the article, scroll down to said section, find out the questions asked, and see how they're graded.
Yeah. Well,
but they don't put that on the report card. They just put B- 28th, and that feels like it's a shot against Stefanski, but when you actually read into it, it has nothing to do with his coaching ability.
Let me see that graphic again.
Do you want all the grades? And let's run through all the grades real quick.
We'll run through all the grades real quick, but just to your point here, Mike, it says only 70% of players feel that head coach Kevin Stefanski is efficient with their time. And then it goes to say players feel that he is somewhat willing to listen to the locker room, but it doesn't give a number of players that say he's willing to listen. So I don't know what they're going on here. Even their own context doesn't seem to be consistent across it. But we'll go over we'll start with treatment.
It just feels like dumb criteria to judge a head coach when there's so many aspects. How about beating San Francisco with P.J. Walker?
Yeah.
Where does that factor into the grade?
Well, he was actually asked yesterday what's more important to him, getting a B-.
Wait a minute. What is that supposed to mean?
That it's a kudo to Kevin Stefanski. It's a notch in his belt.
Why, PJ? You talking about that winner? PJ
Don't let him do it. Don't let him pull you into that hole.
What about him?
P.J. Walker led a great fourth quarter game-winning drive that game. He was great. He was 0 for 5, and they got the points.
Don't do it. Don't let him pull you into that hole.
Did he win the game?
Don't let him do it.
I just said they won. He was great on that fourth quarter drive.
That's at the end of the day,
Me and him at the same.
Go ahead with your point. I couldn't let him pass.
I know.
I said it.
He won it with P.J. Walker. What's that supposed to mean?
That P.J. hole. That's where you live.
Go ahead.
Kevin was asked yesterday what is more important to him, winning Coach of the Year for the second time. We're getting a B- on the report card, and he wisely said no comment. But I'll tell you which one's more important to him. That Coach of the Year is going to add some extra zeros to that next contract. That's way more important than that player report card. So his price tag is going up.
And let's talk about the rest of the grades here. In terms of, and I'm reading off my phone, I apologize, but treatment of facilities, they got a D- that was 26th in the NFL. Food, I don't have my glasses on.
This
Food,
one-
cafeteria, C+.
This one gets me.
And you read through it, yeah.
All right, so treatment of families is a D-. Food and cafeteria is a C+.
Right there. Stop. That gets me.
Because you've been there.
Because I've been there. And to be honest with you, when I do the radio, I still eat there sometimes too. Now, I will say the cafeteria is not big. It's not a big cafeteria. But that food.
They ranked 19th
That
in overall
food is
food
good.
taste.
I don't know who the dude on the grill. I remember as a player, I would come in. Whoever they had on the grill back in 2017 was a magician. The dude made some phenomenal food. The food has always been good at the facility. Now at the games, Jason.
Would you like to comment on the media dinners?
I want to talk about that. That's a different story. But the food at the facility is
as it should be.
Legitimate difference, Tyvis, in your different stops, the quality of food from San Francisco to Seattle, from Seattle to Cleveland? Like, is there an actual difference, or is it all the same? Just different flavors and stuff.
Well, hold on. Seattle had one of the best sandwich makers I've ever had. This man made this tuna melt. I think about it to this day. It is that good. San Francisco, they have a plethora of stuff you can order. Like they have the catered meal, but you can always go to the grill and order something. So that always made that good. What I liked about Cleveland is that I was only here for OTAs, so let me take that.
You were still a Brown.
Yeah, I was there for OTAs. I like to be real with the audience. I was there for OTAs. That's it, okay? And that time, I was leaving Seattle, but I loved the food at the Cleveland Browns more than I like Seattle's food.
Wow.
Like I thought
Except the tuna melt.
Except the tuna melt, because they didn't make tuna melts at the Browns. But the Browns, the dude on the grill, like he made some really good, like it was like the cater or the team meal that they made that everybody had to eat, or if you didn't want that, you can go to the grill. Like I like the option that they had better than what they had in Seattle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Seattle would be, like say they made, I don't know, salads or something, but the Browns made chicken and waffles. Like obviously I want the chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like I like the options that they had better.
So it was a good cafeteria.
Yeah, the cafeteria was good.
And let's go through the rest of the grades.
Real quick, just 49ers were A- in food, and then Seahawks.
I didn't say nothing about the 49ers was great. That dude made this bison burger over there. Man, I tell you, boy.
Was it all free?
Heck yeah, what's wrong with you?
If you read the report, there's some teams that charge.
For the players?
Yeah.
Well, they got Fs.
No.
They got Fs then.
Now,
Cincinnati.
in San
Cincinnati
Francisco, if you was like worked in the front office, you had to pay. But players, free. Oh my
The Bengals
God.
got
Cincinnati
an F-.
charged according to the report.
That's crazy. That's why Chad Johnson went to McDonald's all the time.
Broke ass Bengals franchise.
Yeah, the Bengals got F- in treatment of families, food and cafeteria, and nutritionists.
God.
They got a D+ in locker room, and then they got a B+ across the rest of everything else.
Yeah. All right, and let's go to the rest of the
All right,
grades.
so next up we got nutritionists and dietitians. It was a C+, and then team travel was a D for us. So that pretty much covers everything is like a player.
One of the team travel things I wanted to point out was that they said certain players, based on your status, like starter versus not, like you may have to have a roommate.
Yes.
You have to pay if you didn't want to have a roommate on the road for certain players.
So there's
Which
only
was not super
67
uncommon, by the way.
There's 67% of players that felt like they had a comfortable amount of personal space during the flights, which was 26th overall. And then there are one of 7 teams that require some players to have roommates the night before a game.
No player should have to have a roommate. That's ridiculous. They don't even make us bunk up.
I'm trying to think about
Like
that
with
right
the
now.
same company, like the Athletic, if we've got 20 people there, nobody's shacking up.
That's
like everybody
funny
gets their
because
own.
I don't think I had a roommate either.
At no point, guys, these are 8
Yeah,
games
I
we're
did
talking
not.
about.
I never
8
had
or
a
9
roommate.
games. Like NBA guys don't share rooms. That's 41 road games. Like
Baseball players?
but it's
Probably not.
only 12 people
what are you talking about?
in the NBA.
Well, yeah.
Opposed to
Okay,
a
but
travel team where it's
But there's only
63,
8 or
65
there's
people.
only 8 or 9 road games. Like it's not like it's a ton of road games.
Listen, you're pretty sure quiet. I didn't have a roommate.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I never had a roommate.
These guys should not be having.
Depending on my status.
no NFL team.
Depending on my status, I feel like I may have had a roommate once.
If you made the travel roster, you
But
should
wasn't
not
that in
have
the
to share. a
preseason?
room.
I do agree with that. Like,
No, that was in the preseason. I didn't have a regular season. I never had a roommate. Yeah, I didn't have a roommate.
this is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Y'all could afford an extra hotel room or two. Like, I think that should be a non-negotiable. They said 7 teams. The Browns are one of 7.
Yes, they're one of 7.
That number should be 0. And I actually feel pretty steadfast, and I don't think I'll ever
That's
budge
it.
on that. But that should be 0.
The Browns they cut budgets at certain places. They can't afford.
What should it be in terms of hotel rooms on
I
the
can't
road?
even get direct deposit, Mike. I can't even get direct deposit. What are you talking about?
That's another issue. And what are the next grades?
The next grades, we're going back to locker room was a D+, which we already mentioned that it was way too small. Training room got a C+, training staff got a B-, weight room got a D, and then the strength coaches got a B+. So it seems like we have the personnel, but not the facilities.
Here's the problem with that. Cleveland is not a free agent destination in any sport, especially given the Browns' history over the last 20 years. You have to go over and above on all of these things to just give yourself a chance when it comes to attracting and retaining top players. Like, you're not going to sell them on the climate. The weather, it is what it is. You can't change the 20 years of dysfunction, but you have to really go over the top. Agree or disagree?
I agree with you.
And everything else.
You got to make the facilities and everything just so nice.
The stuff that you can control has to be over the top.
Think about this. A free agent, Cleveland, like you said, Cleveland isn't the place that people are like, let's go to Cleveland.
People get so mad when I say that.
What, because Joakim Noah said it and that was let's go to Cleveland.
It's not on any, like, Guardians face it, Browns face it, Cavs face it. Well, it is not a free agent destination in any sport.
It's not. But what people find out is when you come to Cleveland, you actually have a good time. But as far as the facilities go, the way you can help a free agent come is you spend the majority of your time here anyways.
Yeah.
So at least make it a place that got lots of stuff that you could do. Like, make the place big. Make it the locker room bigger. Because that's where people want to hang out with. That's where you hear all the stories at, in the locker room. Man, get some more games in there, ping pong tables, all these things. Make sure the weight room is good. Make sure the practice facility is good. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't. You're literally behind on these things because, like I said, if this was LA, you wouldn't have to do all those things. But in the city of Cleveland, you have to do those things because it's not an attractive place.
And it's not just on the NFL level. Like, to go to college for a second, I can speak to A&M, putting almost $1 billion into upgrading facilities that aren't that old. Yeah. LSU just completely redid their football locker rooms. Ohio State.
We redid ours, but they need to do it again.
I mean,
every couple of years, because it just continually, the ante's being pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And you talk to recruits.
To be honest with you, the Woody needs to they need to redo the whole Woody, to be honest with you.
Is that supposed to be open to the public, or did we break in?
What's your mom?
The Woody, like where all the trophies are displayed, because that's
open to the public.
Okay, because I took my son in there.
Well, so you should have called me. I'd have came and put my thumbprint on it. We could have walked the whole. Well, my thumbprint still works.
I haven't been in there.
Yeah,
I haven't been in there since I covered that team, and that was well before you were there. I stopped covering them in 2008.
You should have. I would have thumbprinted, told you to walk all the way down, halfway down the hall, look to the right where it's the team up north, and just watch their TV, and you'll hear them say, Tyvis Powell saves the season.
But Ty, with your collective stuff, like, facilities do matter to these recruits. And I know a recruit and a free agent aren't apples to apples, but you're essentially selling.
It is. It is apples to apples these days.
Apples to pears.
It's
a fruit basket.
Recruits are free agents anymore.
Yeah. But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, these facilities do make a difference. And we talked to enough kids. I was covering them in high school back in Texas and Tennessee. Like, oh, why'd you pick this school over this school? Well, this was pre-NIL, and now I'm sure NIL money plays more of a factor, but playing time and their facilities blew us away. It was incredible how nice. They had recliner chairs in each locker. They had nap pods. They have video game stations hooked up. Like, it is incredible now how much these colleges are spending on facilities, and I'm actually surprised on the professional level.
That they not?
Even with the Cavs. I'm not sure, Jason, I've only been in 2 NBA locker rooms, but I went in on Tuesday for the first time.
You wasn't impressed?
It just wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be.
Well, they redid it a few years ago, and they've got the player lounge. That's
is that next?
Yes.
Okay,
so that's where they hide now from us. They have the player lounge and all that, where they have all the. So now they didn't have that before. That's since 2018. When
I went in Boston's locker room, it was all one room, which is why
Boston. Yeah. Boston doesn't have that, I don't think. But the Cavs, when they redid the Q 4 or 5 years ago, they redid. They redid the whole underneath so that they've got this really nice player lounge now and cafeteria style dining room or whatever. It's pretty nice down there. They've done a really nice job. That building, it is what it is, and it's still on the lower end of NBA arenas, but they've done a nice job with the remodel down there, trying to do the best they can to maximize every inch that they can. So the Cavs did a nice job with that. And now the Guardians are running into that. The Guardians are trying to renovate, and the construction costs are so outrageous. They keep having to pull things out of their remodel that they're going through right now. So
I'm just surprised. I know it's going up and up and up on the collegiate ranks. I'm just surprised that same thing hasn't followed.
But I thought they did
ranks.
Because when I went to the building, they was renovating something.
Guardians or Browns?
The Browns. This was like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
The practice facility?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done
What did they do?
Offices, I think. Offices and front-facing stuff.
Look at his face.
I think.
Tyler's camera 3. Come on, you know you can.
But in terms of like the indoor practice facility, like I think they're kind of hamstrung right now. They can't really make that or they would have already.
They can't make it bigger. It kind of is what it is.
Yeah,
right?
I mean they've bought the land, but they would have to like level it and redo the whole thing. I think.
Why did they get rid of the hill outside?
I don't know. That's a good question. It was the
When
Belichick Hill.
When I was a kid and I used to come up here to go watch practice and stuff.
I thought it was still there. Did they get rid of it?
The hill? They don't make them.
The Belichick conditioning hill?
Yeah. I don't think
They
it's
can
not.
probably use the one over at BW Stadium. It's the same thing.
That hill used to make me laugh because I used to watch players have to go up and down it.
That was the day one conditioning test, wasn't it?
I'm not 100% sure.
I
But
think.
that hill was steep.
But I think that they do have things in the work. I know they want a new indoor 100-yard facility. They're just kind of cramped or hamstrung, right? Like, I mean, these facilities are 30 years old, or more. I don't even know what year they opened that thing in Brea. I think when they came back in '99.
Maybe
is when it opened.
Maybe they
Almost
are
30.
going. Maybe they are moving everything to the stadium.
I'll check into it.
Because if that's the case, if they kind of hampered and can't really extend it and do all that,
Might as well move it.
Might as well move it.
I mean, he bought all that land up, but now they're just sitting on it. They haven't really done anything with it. In Berea. I'm talking Berea.
Berea. Jimmy also, and what was Jimmy's ownership grade real quick?
Ownership grade was a B. Club owner Jimmy Haslam received a rating of 8.6 out of 10 by Browns players when considering his willingness to invest in the facilities. 17th overall.
So right dead smack in the middle. It's funny when you see the big picture of these. The Miami Dolphins got A's in every category. Either A-, A, or A+. They're, middle of the pack? Like, they're decent, okay, not great by any
But
means.
it's in Miami, though. Like,
But I'm just saying, like, you see a team that get all A's across this, they're okay.
what did
the Chiefs
What did Kansas City get?
Chiefs got an F- for ownership.